to today's show. Right now we are gathered here in Øen. Thank you for the invitation, Anton and Drift Radio. We're here to talk about our Lord and Jesus Christ Savior. No, we're here to talk about Kune Festival, and we are part of the organization. Thank you for tuning in if you're staying locked at home. We're going to be playing some music. We're going to be talking about the festival, why we do, and why you should get your tickets. So stay tuned for the next 2 hours. Here we go.
So this track is called Additive String. It's a track by Ariel that is gonna play at Astro Stage this year. 2 hours extended set, live set. Ariel played at Kune 2 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you can find this set on our SoundCloud, but it's more like clubby set.
Yeah, then you played like a warm-up on Vessel Stage where you experimental algorithm-based music. Ariel is a part of the collective Torso, who makes sequencers and very cool stuff all the time, expanding the minds of the producers that are into generative sequenced music. So if you're into that stuff, check it out. Torso Electronics.
Yeah, and this is a little sneak peek to Astro Stage and what you can expect at Astro Stage, I would say. Do you want to say something more?
Yeah. Actually, maybe it would be nice to do a small presentation or introduction to the stages. I mean, we've mentioned Astral now, and we played a super nice track from Ariel. Anas, do you want to take us through the stage journey?
Yeah, so at Kune this year we will have 4 stages. We will have, as mentioned, Astral Stage. That's just kind of like our chill, relax, trippy, kind of like indoor area where we have visuals, we have a cozy environment and art installations. And Vessel stage is our other, like we have two main stages, kind of like big stages. One is Vessel, one is Space. Vessel is more targeted towards faster, rhythmic, more experimental music, bass, techno, electro, all kinds. And Space is more in the groovier.
Yeah, I would say like minimal, also some good tech house.
Good
Not
tech house.
the good tech house.
It exists
Yeah.
out there, guys.
Some breakbeat
Don't
as
believe,
well.
Don't believe Beatport.
Yeah, no, we don't have anything against tech house. We love tech house, the good one. Yeah.
House.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some house. Yeah.
Good stuff.
I would say definitely the groove is something that we're aiming for at Space Stage, and also what has been characterizing it or been a pretty important part of it until now.
Yeah. And hey man, you're on my cable. And the last stage is a beach, which is at the beach. It's open, like all the stages are open except for Astral. So it's out in the open, and beach stages you get you sand under your feet, and you'll get a more disco-y, houseier, more chill vibes during the daytime at Kune Festival, where the other stages are targeted towards the nighttime. And then the final stage is a amphi stage. It's going to be like a bit flexy, where we're going to maybe have some talks and some more community-oriented situations, where we last year had more experimental concerts, and this year we're going to do it a bit differently. Yeah.
Yep. So fun fact, the beach stage is something that we built on the island ourselves. We tried it out for the first time last year. The year before it used to be a tent. Well, that didn't work out that well because of the weather. That's one really important thing to keep in mind when being out on the island, is that the weather is almost like that special attendant, or like the special guest at the festival, and you never know how they will behave. Maybe it's going to be the good kind of weather, and you're all going to have good fun and make good memories, or it can go into some pretty unpleasant ones as well. But we prepared for that last year and this year as well. Essentially, the beach stage that you see being built there is made out of repurposed wood that we gathered from all sorts of places around Copenhagen. That's also something that we try to keep in mind when we do our stage design and work with production in general. And I'm sure Anas knows this a little bit better than I do. But just wanted to mention that. But I have a question, maybe towards you, Maria. What is your favorite stage at Kune Festival, and why?
Oof. I think that's a tough one, because I love all the stages. But I think Vessel stage is very close to my heart. I don't know, is it because of the music, or I
it's
guess
a special
so.
vibe.
It's a special vibe.
Yeah.
It's also placed like in this, it looks like a vessel, sort of. Like you have to go down the stairs. But I also love Astral. Like ambient has a special place in my heart. So, and I'm also gonna play there this year, so I'm very, very stoked. And I don't know. What about you, Anas?
You know, I'm down for the whole experience, but I'm also maybe a bit biased here. But Vessel is close to my heart because I do the bookings at Vessel Stage together with Martin Gilsøy, who's not here today. He's sick. If you're out there, Martin, get better. So of course that's maybe my number one. But Astro Stage is actually one of my dear, close to my heart projects. I always were inspired about never getting a bit nerdy. Bear with me. I was very inspired about 360 audio and having sound capture you like all around. And at Astro last year we tried a prototype of this where we had 12 speakers around the room together with the panels from Vibro Acoustics, which was like bass resonate panels that you lie on, where the frequencies of the bass were amplified. and you were like vibrating, and it was like very nice experience. And this year we're doing something similar, not completely the same, but we're gonna have this omni feel of like being in there, surrounded by sound. So I'm really excited about that.
And also the visuals at Astral are
And also the visuals.
crazy, especially by Stan.
6 meters times 4 meters in width, so big canvas,
Would take you to another world.
definitely. So maybe it's time for a little music.
Yes.
I brought this record put out by Fergus label. He just took off, but it's Felt, the label Felt. It's Sons of Sloth live EP, and the track is called Boxhead. So get ready.
For the
Boxhead. Boxhead. Boxhead, 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 Boxhead. Boxhead. Boxhead, 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 Boxhead. 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 Boxhead.
All right. So that was a very nice track. And in terms of the music, by the way, so this is something that you could hear at Vessel, but also at Space, depending on the moment. I would say the vibe is definitely something Vessel stage oriented, but there are similar moments at Space stage. So we just realized that we haven't introduced ourselves for everyone that's tuning in online. Yeah, it was planned. It was just like a really long ass intro, but yeah.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Maria, and at Kune I'm a co-head of volunteers together with Vika, who's sitting right here, but you can't see her. Yeah, so basically I'm responsible for, with Vika of course, for recruiting all the volunteers to ensure that the festival can run smoothly. Yeah, and in the private life, I'm unemployed.
Shout out. Shout out.
But I just started DJing recently. And actually, I started DJing because of Kune, I would say, and because my love for music was like reborn at Kune. Yeah, and yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Hannes?
Yeah, so my name is Anas, and I'm part of the production team. So together with Rico, Oscar, Pepe, and all the other guys at the production team, we're in charge of getting all the sound and all the lights and all the infrastructure and all the cables that you see, all the exciting infrastructure related things, stuff like that, and planning, coordinating, and making sure everything is rolling as it should be. In my non-Kune related life, I work at Kube, which is a part of Frederiksberg Kommune, where I'm a technician. Kube Kune, I only have jobs with very close similarities. And besides that, yeah, DJing and enjoying being part of the music scene. Yep. Alin.
Yep. My name is Alin. I'm a festival director at Kune, also one of the founding members. So me and this baby go way back, as they say. Day to day, I have a full-time job as well. So doing the festival, I wouldn't call it on the side. I would say that the full-time job is more on the side. I hope no one at my work is watching this. No, but really, doing this festival is almost everything to me, and one of the reasons why I can get off from the bed in the morning. It's very extremely motivating. It's also a lot of hard work. At Kune, I do a bunch of different things: bookings, partnerships, and communication. A bit of everything, trying to keep things together. But the three of us are here now. But we're also part of a much bigger team, a team of extremely hardworking people. Today we are a little bit over 30 people in the organization, and I think maybe it would be nice also to talk about our organization and how we work and how we do this festival and why we do it, why we put in so much effort into it, because it is a hell of a lot of effort. Yeah, so Kune started about 8 years ago, just a bunch of friends doing parties together. We've done that for, I would say, 3-4 years. And we did a pilot for this bigger event on this island in 2019. And that's when the story of the festival started. And I think also that's when this group of friends started getting a little bit more mature, not necessarily as individuals, but also in terms of our relationship with with music and with culture and with the local scene here in Copenhagen. And I think we kind of took on a super big mission with the festival and what we're trying to achieve with it. Yeah, I think I'm drifting a little bit here, but okay. Do you want to talk a little bit, maybe you, Maria, about our mission and also how we work with volunteers and how that connects together, and what are our roots, I would say, in your mind to Copenhagen as a city, from the perspective
That's
of
a
work?
broad question.
Yeah, I know, but
I would maybe start with the fact, I don't know if Alin mentioned it, that Kune means togetherness in Esperanto. And I would say this is like the first word that comes to my mind when I think about Kune. Because what we're trying to do is to reach beyond the festival, but build a community. And I think we're doing a pretty good job in here. And that leads me to volunteering, because this is like kind of the most important factor about volunteering at our festival. It's about reaching beyond the festival. It's like bringing all the individuals together to create something beautiful. And as
I was just going to say community as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about community. Yeah, but as I'm recruiting people, like volunteers, and I read different kind of applications and different motivations of volunteers, I can only say that they're very beautiful, because like people are writing about like what motivates them the most is to be actually part of the community and of creating something together with other people and like contribute to creating this experience. And I find it very beautiful that I can read it in like volunteering applications that maybe you cannot find in like regular job applications sometimes.
It's true.
Can I, just to add something, because I think that's really important what you're talking about. You probably could tell by now with us having either full-time jobs or like being unemployed or having part-time jobs or whatever. We're all of us volunteers also in Kune. So over 30 plus people that are working on this, extremely hard. We're all volunteers. So I think the connection between the volunteers participating at the festival and making it happen and building it up, and how we work together, I think it's like there are very strong similarities also for us and for what motivates us to put in this much work in it. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. So, but I would say that's the most important thing about volunteering. And the other question you asked was about Kune connecting to Copenhagen, or?
Yeah, to the community. Like in your experience working as a co-head of volunteers and interacting with volunteers until now, like you've talked about their motivations and what they write in their applications, but out of your like experience of working directly with people, what do you think is, the common denominator, I would say, between the people that volunteer and the festival?
I would say that it's like the underground Copenhagen scene, in my opinion. And it's this kind of, like if you know Copenhagen clubs, for example, there's like a few of them that has a safer space policy, and which means that it's a place for them to kind of express themselves and be whoever they want to be. And I think it's a big part of Kune as well. And people want to be a part of it and contribute to this experience. And I can see it, like I can see I also volunteered at Kune, by the way, 2 years ago, and just 1 year ago I became a part of the team.
There you go.
There you go. And I could see it by myself that like once you get into Kune, there's no way out. Honestly, like I could.
It's a pyramid scheme, guys. It's like.
No, but what I mean is that when I came back from the festival, I could see people from Kune, also that like participants, but also the volunteers everywhere, to every party I went to. but also I think it's because of the specific type of parties that we are going to. One was here actually at UN, like 1 week after Kune 2021, and I met Victor and Isa. If they're watching it, then I'm saying hi. Yeah. Do you want to add something maybe to that?
Yeah, I don't know. Like most of my friendships were made for that. It's not gonna be a sob story now. But it's like it's just a big part of my life and my identity. So it's kind of like one of the fundamentals in my life, and it's like creating this experience. And it's so much time and effort, but it's really worth it. Like that island you get to it's hard to it's cliche as well, but it's this magical place, really is. And the way you're together there, and the way you shape your your experience together, and through the music, through the art, and through the interactions that you have with the people there, is really like something that I resonate with in my life.
I think I have a song for that.
What do you have that?
It's actually a song that Miora, as known as Tide Cherry, played last year at the. She had an opening set at Vessel, and that was the last track she played. And me and Vika, that was the first moment we kind of could land after loads of work. And the song is called "This Is the Sound of Underground," and we kind of remembered it as like. Yeah, this is the sound of underground.
It stuck with you. It stuck with you.
It stuck with us. So I would like to play it right now.
Hit it.
There you go.
Kune Festival, making things right.
sound of underground. This is the 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 sound of underground. Miami is the home of the motherfucking bass. Detroit, Motor City is always in the place. Germany, can't you feel where it all began? Kraftwerk and Bambaataa had a master plan. Miami is the home of the motherfucking bass. Detroit, Motor City is always in the place. Disco Bay to the UK, electro pounds the ground. B-boys prepare for battle, 'cause this is the sound of underground. Electro revolution, 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 electro
Are you ready?
The sound of the underground. Yeah, I think I know a couple of tracks with very similar names that are all equally good.
Connected to underground?
Maybe. So I thought that after this track, maybe it would be a good time to kind of discuss a little bit why we're doing the festival. I think we gave an introduction to who we are, I guess, and what our motivations are. And I think we mentioned also that we're part of a much bigger team, all of us volunteers. So I mentioned that we took upon ourselves quite of a big mission. And I think, we're applying to or trying to apply to a lot of funding generally. So one of the questions that we get a lot that we have to answer in our funding applications is about why are we doing this festival and what is it about? I mean, of course, it's about the artists. It's about contributing to the cultural scene here in Copenhagen. It's about celebrating the scene and reuniting with like-minded people and our friends that are artists and so on. But the idea of the festival, why we started with it, was because we realized that up here in the Nordic region, there's a little bit of a missing puzzle piece. Every country in the north, and especially the capitals, they all have quite of a healthy, I would say, nightlife scene. But what we're missing a little bit is an event that essentially connects all of us. There are so many crews, amazing people doing a lot of great work in Copenhagen and Oslo and Stockholm, and throughout the years of doing parties over the last decade or so, we got to meet a lot of them. So I think the impulse of doing this event came out of really wanting to do a celebration where we could invite all of our friends, everyone that we know, and their friends. There are just so many talented people living up here in the Nordic region, and we just wanted to do like a big get-together, I would say. And we found this island, and I think it was kind of like it came at the right time in the right way, and it served as a very malleable kind of playground. So like we were very lucky to get in touch with the organization that manages the island. The organization's name is Ungdomsøen, and essentially they stem out of Spejderne, which are the Scouts of Denmark. But now it's an individual organization. So we got in touch with them, and they share a lot of our values. They're a lot about community building and getting in touch with young people and bringing people together and building stuff together and challenging the norms of society and so on. So although they're not so active with music, there is a great deal of overlap. So what I was saying is that we started doing this because we wanted to build a place for us and for our friends and for music that represents art in the Nordic region. Our festival is not only about music but also about visual arts. We have projections throughout the night and multiple stages.
Installations.
We have art installations and galleries and so on. So yeah, it's quite broad. So it really came out of this wish of building a platform and a communal space where we could gather, these artists and expose them and celebrate them and really just try to elevate them. And we like them so much, and we're so much in love with the scene in Copenhagen and the other cities that we just wish that everyone else in the world would be as well in the same way. And I guess that's kind of like on the emotional level, but we really also believe in the importance of building an international platform that represents these artists as well. And there are already very nice people doing a lot of good work on the local level. We just want to put everything together in the same place and kind of share that with the rest of the world as well. I think kind of like that speaks about why we're doing it. And do you have anything to add to that, Anas?
No, I think it's very beautifully put. I mean, there's always more one reason. I mean, we all have our personal agendas, but we're also tapping into this larger perspective. And doing a festival, you need to have this key kind of like perspective where you go through and try to channel the energy towards something that's a bit more uniform. And I mean, we're always thinking about kind of like thematics, and I mean, we're wanting to bring a healthy increase to the music scene and trying to showcase the best of what the Nordics has to offer. Also the Baltics. Shout out to our friends in Riga and Estonia, Lithuania. And we are really trying to do the best we can in these facets, and we still keep in mind a lot of aspects it's a full package. It's like we're bringing visual inputs, like in terms of our art program, which is quite mind-blowing, and last year it was really a step up from what we had from the previous years. We always getting better, which is it was really cool to see. And this year we're gonna have some really cool installations, working a lot with projections, even more and more projectors than ever. So it's exciting to see how it's panning out and how people will interact with the areas that we create, and also everything is just turning out quite good. I'm paddling here.
So one thing that I realized that I want to talk about is the fact that, I mean, we start our journey with a thought and with an idea, and we're trying every day to deliver on that. But we've also been very influenced by the journey itself and the things that we have discovered throughout the years. And I think one important element, at least for me personally, and I think maybe I think everyone can relate to that, but in particular you and Vika, who is a co-head of volunteers as well, is the community that has built around this concept. So imagine this, like it was a group of 6-7 people in the beginning with this idea of doing this event, and then in time it just grew into something that reaches beyond ourselves and also belongs to more people than just the ones that are now today in the core group. So what I wanted to say was related to our mission and also the community. And I think it really became, even if it's not like explicit, it really became part of our motivation to try to build something where other people from our city or other people from around the world that are interested in building this together with us, that are interested in kind of, you know, getting that experience of belonging to something built here in Copenhagen. Homegrown. Exactly, homegrown. So that became also part of our mission. Again, although it's not explicit, I think it's a really important aspect.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, and I can see it on myself as well. And that feeling of belonging is very important. It's a very important motivation for all of us, I would say. Yeah, because like just simply you feel like belong somewhere, and you don't have to put a name on it, but you know you are part of community and you are creating something beautiful with other people. And also coming back to the platform that you said, together with the feeling of belonging is that we, as like me and Vika and like everyone at Kune, we're giving a place like to volunteers, a space to kind of develop their skills as well, especially during production, I would say. And so I would say this is also a part of our mission to like give a platform to people and a space where they can learn something new and like whatever they want, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually one of the key things that has stuck with us throughout the years. In almost 10 years now of doing events, I think this was one of the most important aspects, that we had no fucking clue what we were doing from the beginning. I mean, a lot of the days today we still don't have. And a key important aspect was that we allowed ourselves to fail and to learn from our mistakes, and also to learn by doing. I think this is a really important one. And when it comes down to volunteers and working with people, we are so happy, in particular when we are able to reach out to people that have no experience, but they have a very good motivation for doing things and for learning, because it's really a reflection. Like, at least myself, I see myself in people like that. And I have a lot of love and respect for people that are so daring, because it's not an easy task to just go out and do something that you have really no experience about, and being comfortable with the risk of failure and with, you know, looking ridiculous or whatnot. I mean, I think in general in our lives we try to shield ourselves a lot from that, and the way that our society is built, you know, it's kind of like built around that, avoiding that, of like perfectionism and doing things right all the time, and knowing versus not knowing, and so on and so forth. So having a space for a community where the participants and the members know that it's safe to just go out and do, you know, and take initiative and be an active part of it, I think that's really special. And I think for us doing this festival, really, I really think it adds that layer, you know, to the city. Of course, there are many other ways in which you can do this, but when it comes down to music and this music scene in Copenhagen, I think, yeah, it's very important that we keep this going.
And speaking of music, that's a nice segue into the next track here. It's by a label with one of our headlining acts, Maria Montexchier. Her label, Praia. I hope I'm pronouncing that wrong or I didn't butcher it. It's a artist called Soft Milk, and it's called Small Crab, and it's like a sound that is very much an inspiration for me, and also I think Martin and some of the rest of the crew at the moment. This new kind of like experimental bass, kind of like poly, kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's easier to listen to it and get your own
So
vibe about it.
the track is called Soft Milk,
Yeah.
artist Small Crab, and the
Yeah.
album is Flowing with Honey.
Yes. Maria is playing on the first evening, so on Wednesday. So the day tickets just got put out. So if you want to get a day ticket, I think it's a nice maybe occasion to check it out. The full lineup is gonna come soon with the timetable and everything. So stay put for that. Sick track.
Sick track.
Yeah, really like this. Crazy label, super nice track. The whole EP is wicked. Check it out.
Speaking about Marie Montichel, maybe you can talk a little bit about the music program and our bookings and
So as mentioned earlier, Martin Gilshøj and I are in charge of booking at Vessel Stage and a bit of Astral and a bit of here. And you, together with Rico, who's over there, and the rest of the crew, they're doing Space and also Beach, and we can like co-collaborate in kind of like most of the bookings on on Beach and Astral, where we kind of like, me and Martin kind of take care of Vessel, and Rico and Alin kind of take care of Space. That's how we have kind of divided the labor of the bookings. And for this year, we kind of like wanted to switch up things a little bit in terms of the profiling and try to, try some sounds that are kind of fresh to us, something new, interesting, and something that's kind of like bubbling in the underground, not so maybe so present. Most of the clubs, kind of this track kind of shows a bit case that vibe of some of the nights going to happen, at least at Vessel. We're going to be diving a bit more into like experimental tracks, more like faster tempos, maybe tempo switches in the sets, and like overall a bit more like dynamic, where we're also going to have a bit less trancey vibes than we had last year. So for all the trance heads, I'm really sorry. We still love you, but we also have to try out other sounds, and that's, I think, is very important, especially for a growing festival to have a diverse musical profile. I think we really have that, and we're showcasing a lot of different approaches to what dance music is, electronic dance music. But we also have a more organic sounds, like representative of like Beach Stage, where we can have like a mixture of disco and funk and Afrobeat and a bit more like, I would say on the chiller side, but still like uplifting you, especially towards the sunset hours. This year we're extending the sets at Beach Stage. For those who are missing a sunset vibe last year, you're gonna get it. So
if the weather is good.
If the weather is good, of course, which it will be. Yeah. Do you have anything to add on this?
Yeah, I guess like there's a small layer that I would like to add on it, and that's how we work with bookings. I was mentioning before that we want to build this thing with for artists in the Nordic region. So in our program throughout the stages, we try to connect with artists from some of the countries up here in the Nordic region. So the artists that we have at our festival, I would say maybe over 95% of them or 98% of them, something like that, reside in one of the countries in the Nordic region. It's a very important aspect for us. And it's worth mentioning that it's not about nationality and your passport, but it's about where you live in the world in this particular time. It's there's a special connection that you have with the place where you live. And yeah, it's not about where you're born, but rather what you do when you live somewhere. So we look at the countries in the Nordic region, and we have artists from Sweden, we have artists from Norway, we have some artists from Iceland. I think with Finland we have a little bit more work to do. I think we're due for a trip to Helsinki, at least, maybe to get started. So if anyone from Finland is watching, drop a message. We would love to sleep on your couch. Even the floor is good. And some other good things to note is that we're quite mindful of the journey that I would say disadvantaged people and types of people have been dealing with over the last decades or so of electronic music. So we try our best to have a lineup that is as balanced as possible when it comes to gender. We have very ambitious, I wouldn't call them ambitiousness, but rather necessary targets of working with a balanced lineup of equally booked female and male artists, but also transgender and BIPOC and other disadvantaged, I would say, people. Because it's I think there are places in Copenhagen, and I think this is in general very thought of throughout the clubs. There, like the Nanosil, for example, or communities like Fast Forward. They've definitely been pioneering this and have really did a good job in combining this with some kind of like form of activism and leading this movement that we're also a part of today. And
Yeah, and I would just like to add to that. It's Kune Festival is it's a non-profit organization. Like we don't have the big bank or big sponsors supporting us and giving us gold bars to play with. We're doing it with what we have to do with from ticket sales and from bar income and stuff like this. So that means like when you're putting together a diverse lineup of 100 artists plus, that's a quite big puzzle piece. If people that are not into the booking world, if they don't understand it, it's kind of like you have a puzzle piece and then you kind of like have to invent the pieces yourself. They don't really come in a batch. You have to like figure it out yourself with the pricing, and especially working with the people that has to fly in. And we're really trying to do our best, and I'm super proud of what we have achieved this year with the lineup. And super excited to see how it all unfolds, and the people that are been willing to leverage a bit in what they would usually play for, or like there's been such a positive and warm feeling as a booker, and it's just nice to see that people really want to have a cool experience together.
Yeah. And one thing that I would like to add to that is we tried, like I said, over 95% of the artists, both music but also the art program, live in one of the Nordic countries. So we tried to, definitely it is one of the best representations, I would say, of culture in the Nordic region. So if you want to know what's up in Scandinavia, this is the place to be. But on top of that, we kind of like sprinkled the experience a little bit with some quite influential acts, I would say international acts, ones that we love. And of course, it's not like they're the top of our top, but each year we're trying to go through different names and try to flavor the experience a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, should we dive a little bit into reveal? It's kind of have been revealed. So if you're following us on Instagram or social media, you will know what's up. But I think like we don't operate with like big headliners. If anyone has noticed that, we don't target like a big superstar. They are all superstars, in my opinion. We don't target specific people. We're more focusing on like how these people interact and how they kind of like present themselves through the nights that we curate, and how it makes sense and complements each other cross-platform and cross stages. So I think that really plays a big part of our kind of like thinking and who to pick within our circle, within our scene, but also trying to bounce out a bit to other cities in the Nordic region, and try to fortify that relationship between them. I think it's very important, and the music will speak for themselves. The artists are all been booked, are amazing, and they all have their own unique story to tell. So I'm interesting to see how it'll pan out. Should we listen to some music? Yeah.
So speaking of international artists, actually, one of the artists that I'm personally most excited about is Kia, and she's an Australian-based DJ, but she's actually relocating to Europe now.
To Berlin, I believe.
To Berlin, yeah. And she's gonna play at Kune, but that has been announced already. And she's like super big inspiration, super duper. She's very like unexpected in her sets. She's combining like heavy bass, IDM, and like deep techno. and she's creating also a label called Animalia. And I have a track.
I want to see podcast series as well. Really cool stuff in that podcast.
Yeah. But I have a track from the label. It's a track, and in this label, she's just introducing super, very experimental DIY sounds, which I appreciate a lot. And this track is called Death Charge by Loif. Also, I would say a hidden gem from Australia. And this is something that you could expect at Kia's set. And
Shout outs to the dingoes.
yeah.
Another banger here
Another banger.
from down under. Those Australians, they're onto something. We don't know what, but we are curious.
Yeah, but I could say that that was like a pure vessel vibe, right?
Yeah, for sure. Kia's playing on Saturday. So for those who want a weekend pass, then that might be a good choice to do it. Oh, that's a good question, Alin. Where can you buy the tickets if you're interested? There are two ways of doing that. One is by finding the Verse app. The Verse app, it's an application on your you have to go and search VERS set and then find the Kune space in there. And the code for getting into the space is KuneFest.
Just visit our website.
Yeah, that's also a good idea. Go to the kunekbh.com. Check.
Maybe we should talk about the island a bit.
Yeah?
What's your favorite memory from the island?
Can't ask this. That's like asking you which is your favorite child. I don't know. There's been so many moments. It's hard to really take one and go with it. But I think one of my favorite moments was actually a live set that we had in Astral Stage, where it was last year. Yes, some of the years are melting a bit together, but this guy Jesper Hecht, who was a part of Code Walk, and he played a live set. And before the festival, I told him about the room, because Astral Stage is quite unique in terms of acoustic properties. It's a big hangar, so there's like a lot of reverberant bass. It sounds crazy. And I told him, yeah, it's around reverb time in there. And then he made the live set for the room, and it sounded absolutely amazing. So I was really stoked how that whole setup turned out. Yeah. What about you, Maria?
It's a tough question.
I know.
I mean, I have one particular memory that we talked about a lot of times, I think. It's like 2021 when you were playing at Space and we didn't really know each other at that time. And it was very windy. And we went on top of this like hill, whatever it is, of this like properties of the island. And I met there 3 people. One of them was Warwick, that like we're friends by this day, I would say. And we were dancing with the wind, and we were kind of like, we told each other that we shouldn't fight the wind, that we should just dance with it and accept it. It's amazing because this is my favorite memory also from Kune ever, I would say. And I remember this track that Anna's played, and I had a video from it, and then when me and Anna's met, we kind of like talked about it, and he also said that that was like a, I think, memorable moment.
Remember that time?
For him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just, I wanted to say that the nature of the island can be very unexpected in some ways, but I guess it's a part of accepting it. And how do they say, like, there's no bad weather, there's only bad clothes or something like that?
That is true.
Yeah.
My mother always used to say that.
Do you want to add something, Alin?
What do I want to add to this?
Should I play the track in the background?
What I want to talk about regarding the island is actually the experience that you get. For those of you that haven't been there, if you can imagine being in Copenhagen, so one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, maybe even the world. You're in the city center, like tourists, it's summer, it's fucking hot. Nah, not really, but a lot of tourists for sure. And you're boarding this ferry in the middle of the city, and you're riding the waves for about 30 minutes, and then in 30 minutes you come to this artificial island. It's not very big, but it's also not small either.
It's big enough.
Really trying not to make a "that's what she said" joke. uh, but yeah, it's an artificial island that was built in the 18th century. It was used as a defense fort. So military fort, very aggressive purpose, keeping the enemy away from the city. And today, when you travel with the boat there, although it's a mere 30 minutes away from the city, it's one of the easiest ways to escape, I would say, your everyday life or the city. Every time we are there, whether we go during the festival or sometimes we even go throughout the year to camp out there, to do some work on the island and so on, like you really get this feeling of being separated, I would say, from the rest of the world. And especially during the festival, you have this feeling of being in a bubble with the nicest people that you could think of. Everyone is just so nice, smiles all around, and very helpful and respectful, and surrounded by art and music and visual stimulation and making new friends and so on. So it's really, 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 really special, I would say. And one of the things that I enjoy the most is the fact that you can go into the water. You can take dips during the day. There are some platforms where you can jump off of. There's also some secluded spots, if you're good at walking around and finding them, where you can find a little bit of peace and watch the city from the distance. It's nice to do that during the day, but also during the night is a very good experience, I would say, just seeing the city lights and feeling yourself outside of things. I don't know, it kind of like provides that experience, that objective experience of looking at things, from the exterior. And it's definitely a point of reflection, I would say, being at the festival and being in this bubble. Yeah, I think that's what makes the island so special to me, the fact that you can enter like almost like a parallel reality, I would say, where things work so differently, where it's like art and particularly art that's driving, like it's kind of like sitting in the driver's seat and moving your experience forward. And it's just 30 minutes away from the city, which is so crazy to think of. There are very, very few places around the world, I think, where you can do something like this. Yeah.
We're also a bit biased, but I think it's true.
It's true. I remember
Facts.
coming back from the island last year after being there for like how long? 2 weeks we were there.
Yeah.
And like stepping on the normal ground, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, where am I? Like, there's normal people around me and life happening, and I just came back from this parallel universe of joy and love and yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
One other thing that I really like about the experience is when you think about the initial purpose of the island, like military, fort, defensive, aggression, like fire, power, whatever the heck. It's like, turning it from, this is going to be really cheesy. Are you ready? From firepower to flower power? Does it work? No? Okay. I'm sorry. But no, really, I think this just goes to show, the character of art and culture and how it can really transform spaces, how it can take a place that was man-made, for aggressive purposes and turn into a place that brings people together in a celebration of life and culture. Is just great. I think it's also part of the unique character of our festival on this island. So really something to experience. If you don't have a ticket yet, get it.
And
right now.
If you want to experience something to like warm up your senses for the festival, we have a podcast series called Kune, curated by Maria and Mika. So that kind of like emphasizes a bit the feeling and the music that will be played at the festival. The first episode was
With Casper Marat.
yeah.
Yeah, and the second episode actually came out just today, a few hours ago. And yeah, just about the podcast itself is to give you kind of a glimpse of what you can expect at the festival. And me and Vika, we're trying to give you something else every time. So yeah, Casper Marat's mix last month was kind of like vessel, dreamy, trancey vibes. And today, my really good friends, Hugo and Vic, known as Cyro and Keeptress, yeah, they recorded a mix for us that is kind of giving you a glimpse of Astral Stage. It's a trip, that's guaranteed. It's a very like psychedelic with some tribal sounds and
Percussions
as well.
live.
Yeah, and yeah, I think we need a bit of music, maybe in a different
Always.
vibe. But actually, Vic and Hugo, they're also producing music themselves, but they're not releasing a lot. I don't know why, because they're very good in my opinion. And they were so kind to send me a track, and it's called Lines, and I'm gonna play it now.
Get it.
But it's in like vessel vibes, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are tuning in online, we're gonna spend the next 30 minutes listening to some music in different vibes that you can find at the festival. I think we hope that we managed to give out a pretty good visualization of Kune Festival, and there's just so much more to say, and we could be here for the next 12 hours just talking about the festival. It's such a big part of us. But yeah, the next 30 minutes, music from Hannes, Maria.
Yeah, and as always, you can find us and contact us through our Instagram, Facebook, or find us on the webpage, on the dance floor, of course.
Say the wickedest thing. When we say the wickedest thing.
Yo,
Yo,
we're still here.
this is the last track that we're gonna play.
Yeah.
It's Casper Marod, of course.
Have you heard about him?
Have you heard about this guy?
We can. I think we can say that this year's closing act of Kune Festival will be Casper Marod, extended set, special vibes, for sure, guaranteed. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. The ones that are in
Thanks for
person.
listening.
Buy the tickets. Buy the tickets.